Hello, everyone. Ron here from RJJ's Reactions. I hope you're doing really well and listening to some great music. I know I have been. And today I'm going to be listening to Ren's Dominoes. It got requested, and of course, I am going down the Ren path, so no better time. I noticed when I was looking for the song that there's a live version, sort of a busking version, I think, and the studio version. I haven't listened to the song. I haven't heard it. Often like the live versions better for a couple of reasons. I like to hear the real voice. I like to know that the singer can actually sing because you can't always tell from the studio version. We know Ren can sing because we've already heard him singing in many of his videos where they do one take and it's live. And but still, I often like the live. However, in the little icon, there's people standing around him because he's busking, obviously. And sometimes when there's an audience or people, they make too much noise, so the live version isn't that great. So what I'm going to try to do is listen to the live version and then listen to the studio version as well. What I might do is listen to the live, then look at the lyrics, and then listen to the studio version. We'll see how it all goes. All right, let's have a listen to and a look, because we're going to start with the live version, Ren Dominoes. Okay, let's go.
Just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. So bleed me, you'll hold my self-belief. My smile shows all my insecurity. In a kingdom of Photoshop, kings and queens will never feel happy with ourselves, but insecurity self. Dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you built us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Hide my head under the sheets. Cause how could I face a world that ridicules the weak? Where beauty is sold on the
Okay, I can hear the lyrics very clearly, and they're wonderful. We'll talk about that separately, though. For the most part, I love the sound of the guitar and his singing voice as well. Even though there's a bit of background noise, it's not bad. It's coming through very clearly, and he always commits so much to what he sings. Ren is amazing that way. All right, I'll back it up a little bit, and then we'll continue on.
Cause how could I face a world that ridicules the weak? Where beauty is sold on the shelves, forbid that we find it in ourselves. And now I'm broke, it don't come cheap. Oh, you built us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you built us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Araya was the most beautiful girl in this world. She shined like diamonds and rubies and pearls. But then, as soon as she turned 13, she forgot just how bright that it was that she gleamed. Stuck in the material world of magazines that glamorizes fake and Photoshop beauty queens. Top 10 beauty tips making her feel inadequate. For the first time in her life, she felt ugly. So Araya stopped eating to lose weight. She spent her dinner money on some makeup for her face. But no matter how much she lost or how much she bought, she was never good enough. Or so she thought. Araya felt she could never be loved. She started cutting the wrist and hiding the scars with gloves. At 16, an anorexic beauty queen, she collapses in a puddle of the tears and blood. She never felt enough. She never felt enough. They sell us all a lie that we must buy to keep in touch. We can never buy enough. Never buy enough. All the riches in the world come by a sense of self-love. Funny how you act surprised when depression levels rise. When you're force feeding inadequacy straight into my eyes. Television shows that praise the beautiful people. And talent competition just to laugh at the feet. people. Billboards, magazines, people turn to plasticine. Hold it like a factory. We're growing up to fear, feeling ugly. Lunacy, a knife in the community. Insecurity breeds judgment. Judgment breeds hate, no unity. Hierarchy based upon the facts is what makes a kid in school get bullied for genetics. I felt so ugly growing up, and the way that I looked always got me beaten up. And I said, what the fuck? What sort of culture do we live in? When we're defined by the shape of our face, when we're imprisoned by the size of our waist, when we're imprisoned by the form that we take. And so we keep on buying and spending. That's just how the story goes. You build us up just to knock us back down, and we just keep on falling like dominoes.
I love that one.
Yeah, someone said, I love that one in the audience. Yeah, I hope everyone loved that one. I can imagine the crowd now if Ren were out there and to be much larger than that. And he'd need a dump truck to gather all the money and change that people would be offering him now. I hope so anyway, because he certainly deserves it, and he's blowing up on social media, etc. So let's hope that he gets feeling better. And I know I think he's dropping a song today or tomorrow, isn't it? It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Ren, by the way. Should have said that off the top, I think. Nevertheless, I love the song here. There's a bit of background noise, a bit of interference, and sometimes watching the people, because my brain goes 10,000 directions at the same time. So I'm smiling at what some of the people are doing, but the topic is quite serious, of course, and it's emotional, and I could really feel it, and I'll talk about that more when we look at the lyrics in just a moment. Okay, let's have a look at the lyrics. Ren is not afraid of tackling tough subjects, is he? We've seen this before, and this one you could pick up the lyrics. His voice was very clear, even though it was a live version and there was some noise, as I mentioned. But let's just have a fairly quick look at the lyrics. Oh, you build us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Of course, we've all seen the dominoes when quite amazing what they can do when they track them up and then drop them and they all start falling down. In this case, not so good though, because they're talking about people and how we fall sometimes. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes falling. Yeah. So bleed me of all my self-belief. My smile shows all my insecure teeth, it has here. In a kingdom of Photoshop kings and queens, we'll never feel happy with ourselves, but insecurity sells. Yeah, so the unreasonable expectations that the media, I think he mentions later, magazines and things, television, whatever, the unreasonable and unattainable for most of us, for all of us, all the time, um, and for most of us, any of the time, to reach those unreasonable and ridiculous expectations. So then we begin to feel insecure and unhappy with ourselves and the Photoshop kings and queens. So the fake, the artificial kings and queens. Okay, so I hide my head under the sheets. Yeah, because how can I face a world that ridicules the weak, where beauty is sold on the shelves? Forbid what we find it in ourselves. And now I'm broke. It don't come cheap. Yeah, except that the weak are often the ones that we think are the kings and queens. The Photoshop kings and queens are actually a lot weaker than we believe sometimes. They're the ones that fall the hardest, I would say. Yeah, sometimes at least. And nobody can stay at the top forever. I mean, it's very difficult to get there, if you can even get there, and then to stay there, it's even more difficult. And so you're going to get knocked down. Funny how you act surprised. Yeah, we saw that line when we hit the ground. Yeah, what's so surprising about that? You build up people's expectations to such a height, uh, an unreasonable height, and then you're shocked when they fall. Shouldn't be too surprising. Arya was the most beautiful girl in this world. She shined like diamonds and rubies and pearls. But then, as soon as she turned 13, she forgot how bright um, that it was that she gleamed, stuck in a material world of magazines that glamorize the fake and Photoshop beauty queens. Yeah, the most beautiful girl in the world, the smartest boy in the world, the greatest, the best. We say these things. Sometimes we should be more careful, I suppose. Uh, That's why sometimes I temper my compliments to Ren because he is so amazing to me and to many of us. But on the other hand, I know what that can do to people sometimes. It's okay to make mistakes. That's why I like to see live versions. And I did see a couple of things there that were maybe not what you'd call perfect, but that's what I love about live performances. Um, yeah, you're not the most beautiful girl in the world. Nobody is the most beautiful girl in the world because there is no such thing. It doesn't exist. Um, but then, of course, you try to reach those goals that are expected of you. And then, in this case, very young, 13, and sometimes it's later, um, you sort of hit the wall, or you think you have anyway. And because of you're no longer the same as you were when everybody wanted to take your picture and put you in magazines. Top 10 beauty tips make her feel inadequate. For the first time in her life, she felt ugly. So Arya stopped eating to lose weight. Yeah, a big problem with a lot of uh, girls and women, but also men. I know a man who was, I guess, is because I don't know whether it ever really goes away. Anorexic, and it's devastating. Drop down to almost nothing, and your systems can shut down, and you die. She spent her dinner money on some makeup for her face, but no matter how much she'd lost or how much she bought, she was never good enough, or so she thought. Yes, a lot of it comes from outside, but a lot of it becomes psychological as well. So that even when people are trying to help you, you're in this downward spiral now, or I guess in this case, the dominoes are already falling, and you can't stop the rest of them from falling. Arya felt she could never be loved. She started cutting her wrists and hiding her scars with gloves. So, yes, okay, we know people who cut themselves. At 16, an anorexic beauty queen, she collapses in a puddle of her tears and blood because she never felt enough. She never felt enough. Okay, so that is really heart wrenching. It would be particularly if you know someone who's gone through anorexia or bulimia or any of these eating difficulties. And then, of course, the depression and hurting yourself, self-harm. Um, yeah, there's lots to be said here. There's just too much to do in one video, I think. You sell us all this lie that we must buy to keep in touch, but we can never buy enough, never buy enough. It's like an addiction, isn't it? All the riches in the world can't buy a sense of self-love. Funny how you act surprised when depression levels rise, when you force feed inadequacy straight into our eyes. So always getting it from social media, television, and there we are, television shows that praise the beautiful people, and talent competitions that just laugh at the feeble. Yeah, it's sad that we set it up so that we are scorning or laughing at others. It's kind of like when you're in school and the bullies on the playground. In order to make themselves feel bigger and better, uh, they toy with and torture the weaker, the smaller, the shyer, whatever. I think it goes on to say a little bit about that too. Let's go there. Um, Billboards, magazines, people turn to plasticine, yeah, fake people again, molded like a factory. We're growing up to fear feeling ugly. It's lunacy. I might have a difficulty with that line. Fear feeling ugly. I'm not sure that you necessarily are ugly. You're not ugly. So, a knife in the community causing security breeds judgment. Exactly. A judgment breeds hate, not unity, of course. Again, the us and them situation that I was talking about in some of the other videos rears its ugly head. Um, we're the good people and they're the not so good people. And you can divide that in so many ways. And it's always creating hate. It's not creating unity. It's not creating peace. And hierarchy based upon aesthetics is what makes a kid in school get bullied for genetics. And I felt so ugly growing up. Yeah, your genes are your genes. You look how you look for the most part. Of course, you can do certain things, certain clothes, certain hairstyles, certain whatever. But I mean, you're you. You have facial structure, bone structure, whatever from your genetics, and we should do more to appreciate the differences of people and all the different kinds of looks that can be good looking just as much as the ones that we tend to put at the very top, which are more artificial, as he's mentioned several times with the plasticine and photoshopping. And I felt so ugly growing up. The way that I looked sometimes got me beaten up. I mean, what the I don't want to get trouble with YouTube, so I'll leave that for you. Um, yeah, of course. I don't know if this is true about Ren. And at the bottom, I see songwriter Sid Barrett, although in other places I saw this was an original song by Ren. So was it the music that's original and not the lyrics? I'm not sure about that. Nevertheless, I'm sure he feels this, and that's why he chose to sing it. Um, yes, just the way you look can get you beaten up. I think particularly if you're a shy person and you become more shy, the more you get teased and bullied and worse, beaten up in some cases, slapped around, whatever. But words can be bullying as or can be a beating as well. Um, it doesn't have to be fists. It can be words that beat you up psychologically, and then you begin beating yourself up even when it's stopped for years or decades. Even people are still doing it to themselves because of that's what happened when they were younger. Sort of culture do we live in when we're defined by the shape of our face, when we're ashamed by the size of our waist? Exactly. When we're imprisoned by the form that we take, and so we keep buying and spending. That's just how this story goes. You build us you build us up just to knock us back down, and we just keep falling like dominoes. Yeah, exactly. um, there's certain things we can't change about ourselves. We are who we are. We are what we are. um, and sometimes you feel like you're imprisoned by the form because that we take the form. It's not even so much the form that we take, the form that we're given. It's just your genetics and whatever. And then you're constantly looking at other people who have slimmer waists, thinner bodies, stronger muscles. And it's definitely for women, and it's huge for women, but it's I think become much more for young men as well, because I work with young people all the time, and fortunately most of the ones I know have not had severe issues in this regard, but certainly they're concerned about their looks, about their face, about their hair, about their body size. Am I tall enough? Am I thin enough? Am I strong enough? Do I have enough muscle mass? All of this comes out in girls and boys and men and women. Um, we all tend to pick on ourselves, probably. Uh, well, I shouldn't say that, but after a while, I think it's us picking on ourselves more than anybody else, particularly as you grow up and become an adult. It's up here that's you're still thinking, I'm don't walk properly, or I don't look right, or my there's something wrong with my face, or or my voice, or something like that. All right, yeah, very good lyrics. Whoever wrote them, and the meaning behind them is serious. It's deep and it's painful, but it's good to talk about. It's good to get it out there and keep looking at ways to help resolve this issue and stop. There's been some efforts, some limited efforts, but it's of course it's always connected to money, isn't it? It's always connected to that. So, but nevertheless, we can keep working at getting better at not idolizing only the sort of fake kings and queens, the Photoshop kings and queens, and start to recognize the beauty in a much uh, wider range of people. All right. I'm going to stop there in terms of the lyrics. I don't want to go on too long, but we're going to listen next to the studio version of the song. Let's have a listen to the studio version now.
Oh, you built this like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you built this like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. So bleed me of all my self-belief. My smile shows all my insecurity. In the kingdom of Photoshop, kings and queens will never feel happy with ourselves, but insecurity sells. Dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you built this like.
I'm not going to stop too often because I've already made a lot of comments before, but insecurity sells. I think I forgot to sort of mention, yes, of course, as long as you're feeling insecure about yourself, about the way you look, about the way you sound, about the way you smell, all the deodorant ads and all the soap ads and all things like this, it sells, keep them feeling a little bit insecure so that they'll keep buying all of these products. Yeah. The voice is clearer here, of course, because it's a studio version, um, and it can play more with the instrumentation and the music, so you're getting different sounds in your left and right. I've got to stop saying that because I keep doing that, particularly with Radiohead, but it's just really cool. But yeah, I don't know which version I like best. I don't know if I'll be able to pick even, but this one is clearer. There's no background noise in the audience, of course. But let's go back a little bit and finish listening.
My smile shows all my insecurity. In a kingdom of photoshopped kings and queens will never feel happy with ourselves, but insecurity sells. Dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you build us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. I hide my head under the sheets, 'cause how can I face a world that ridicules the weak? Where beauty is sold on the shelves, forbid that we find it in ourselves. And now I'm broke, it don't come cheap. Oh, you build us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Oh, you build us like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. You build us up just to knock us back down. Funny how you act surprised when we hit the ground. We're like dominoes, dominoes, dominoes falling. Araya was the most beautiful girl in this world. She shined like diamonds and rubies and pearls. But then, as soon as she turned 13, she forgot just how bright that it was that she gleamed. Stuck in the material world of magazines that glamorise fake and Photoshop beauty queens. Top 10 beauty tips making her feel inadequate. For the first time in her life, she felt ugly. So Araya stopped eating to lose weight. She spent her dinner money on some makeup for her face. But no matter how much she lost or how much she bought, she was never good enough, or so she thought. Araya felt she could never be loved. She started cutting her wrists and hiding her scars with gloves. At 16, an anorexic beauty queen, she collapses in a puddle of her tears and blood, 'cause she never felt enough. She never felt enough. Your sellers told this lie that we must buy to keep in touch. We can never buy enough, never buy enough. All the riches in the world can't buy a sense of self-love. Funny how you act surprised when depression.
Yeah, consumerism, of course, and Araya, I think he says the name differently than I do, but she lost everything. So it wasn't just the weight she was losing, it's everything, including her life, that she lost. And it happens all the time. It's incredibly sad. It's difficult for people to understand, and some people ridicule and abuse those who are having eating disorders or other addictions because they don't understand it. They just don't get it. And but it's serious, and it has to be taken seriously. Yeah, beautiful sounds. The music is amazing.
Levels rise when you force feed inadequacy straight into our eyes. Television shows that praise the beautiful people, and talent competitions that just laugh at the feeble. Billboards, magazines, people turn to plasticine, molded like a factory. We're growing up to fear, feeling ugly. It's lunacy, and not even a community. 'Cause insecurity breeds judgment, judgment breeds hate, no unity. And hierarchy based upon aesthetics is what makes a kid in school get bullied for genetics. And I felt so ugly growing up. The way that I look sometimes got me beaten up. I mean, what the fuck? Sort of culture do we live in when we're defined by the shape of our face, when we're ashamed by the size of our waist, when we're imprisoned by the form that we take? And so we keep buying and spending. That's just how this story goes. You build us up just to knock us back down, and we just keep falling like dominoes.
Okay, I was just being careful there because I got caught the other day when I was making a video and it came up with all these ads and I couldn't stop it. Um, yes, Amazing version 2. Which one's my favorite? I don't know. If you really want to hear the music and the instrumentation, this one, obviously. Uh, and his voice is amazing in this as well. And I'm sure that they didn't need to use any real tricks, although at the beginning there was some funny echo sound or something, but that was very cool. Um, but I like the live version too, because I get to really hear just his voice and the guitar, which is also impressive. So, can't, it's like picking your favorite child. It's almost impossible to do. It's also like picking your favorite Ren song. I'm not exactly sure that I could do that. There will be some who will that will rise probably to the top in a group, but yeah, really hard. I don't think I could do that, and it would vary depending on the day and your mood as well. Yeah, Ren never ceases to impress. He is amazing. Don't forget to check out his channel. I put the links below. I'll put the link again for his GoFundMe page. Still getting treatment as far as I know. I think he's dropping a track today or tomorrow. It's his birthday too. So again, happy birthday, Ren. And yeah, let me know. This is a tough one. This is an emotional one, and it will be especially emotional for some people who have dealt with or known people who've dealt with anorexia or bulimia or other eating disorders. So get help if you can, if you have any of these issues. I know it's easy to say, hard to do. It's Ron from RJJ's Reactions. Let me know what else you'd like to hear, either from Ren or other artists. I have a few other suggestions coming up, but always interested in listening to different types of music. For the moment, keep listening, keep having fun. Bye bye for now.